Okay, I'll admit I took a little bit of time off to not only find another image, but also to figure out what it was that was not working about the quick mask mode. Like I said, I use the pen tool to select things, so that's not something normally that I do. And I was missing the fact that when I went into QuickTime mode, the foreground color that I was painting with was turning almost white. You want to make sure that that is black. And so now I'm going to start painting with the brush while in quick mask mode. And I'm just going to paint some stuff right here. And I'm going to hit Q on the keyboard again. And basically what that has done is that has masked. Think of masking tape like you could buy at a paint store. Think of it as basically masking out whatever I painted. So now whatever I painted while in mask mode is not selected, and what I didn't paint, all the areas that I didn't paint with the brush tool are selected. Normally what would happen after this is someone would go to select and then inverse so that what was painted while in quick mask mode is now selected. But it depends. I mean, do you want to select do you want to mask to select or mask to unselect? And another thing real quick I want to point out, speaking real quick, since I'm about out of time for this video, as I'm just going to deselect here, about this picture. I took this picture. This is a picture of machinery. Specifically, it's part of an old airplane that I saw at an air show not too long ago out at the Aviation Museum of Kentucky. And I took this picture because it's great for reference for how metal panels are constructed. To look at the panels, the rivets, see the weathering here, the paint chipping and erosion, the rivets. Got rivets here. You've got scratches. You've got seams. See how the paint is chipped away at the edges. Really, I want to spend a lot of the texture mapping time in this class, texture creation. I want to spend it on things like this. Photoshop is just a means to the ends. This is what, when we are getting paid to make textures, this is what we're really paid to do, is to create things like this. And you can't create what you don't know much about. So that's why I chose this. So we'll probably be working with this a little bit more here because I want to do edits and transforms next. Okay, so with things selected or with just a layer, I'm going to make a copy of this layer. And another way that you can make a copy of it is to just drag the layer itself, in this case the background, down to the new layer icon, and that will make a copy of it itself. And I still can't find that Control-J in any menu on this program whatsoever. So that's just another way to make a new layer, a duplicate of a layer, other than hitting Control-J. So now what I'm going to do is you'll notice that because of the perspective of the way that I took this photo, these lines, these panel lines here, or seams, whatever you want to call them, where panels, metal panels are riveted together, it's not straight. Now here I'm actually managed to get them straight, but just the perspective, or actually maybe then again maybe this is actually at an angle anyhow. I can't remember how this thing works, but anyhow, let's say I want this to be straight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Command R or go to View Ruler. If I can find it. Show. This is yeah, there it is, rulers. Okay, so now once I've shown my rulers, I can click inside the vertical ruler out here on the left. Left click, hold down, and drag out a temporary line, this cyan line here, to use that as a reference. Now I know that is a straight up and down, perfectly vertical line. So what I'm going to do now is, with my background copy layer selected, I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, and this time I'm going to go to Distort. I'm just going to move the bottom right corner out tool, that scene is now almost straight up and down. And I can go to the Move tool, drag that back up here, and see if I manage to keep this panel, this seam, panel line, whatever you want to call it, straight as well. And it worked out that that's exactly what I managed to do. So I could do that with a horizontal ruler as well by dragging from the top down. You might even want to have several of these, and then going back and hitting Edit, Transform, Distort again. See if I can straighten up those horizontal panel lines a bit. Using my rulers as a reference here. Okay, so there we have that. But now notice that that has messed up my my panel lines over here. Now they're not completely straight. So I would just have to kind of keep messing with this in Distort. And so finally I would have that straightened up. And when you're making mechanical textures like metal panels like this, keeping lines straight is going to take up a lot of your time. Let me just turn this layer off, the visibility off. So that was before, that's after. Now things are lined up more horizontally and vertically. And later on when we get into texture mapping in detail, we're going to talk more about how to do that. I just wanted to point that out. And there's some other details, transformations we can apply as well. So I'm going to go up to Edit, Scale. It's just to move things around. Going to hit Escape to cancel that transformation. Transform again. I'm going to do Rotate. I can spin things around. Yes, my cat is going crazy in case you hear the cat moving in the background and yowling. I can hit Skew to tilt things left, right, up, down. Let's see here, what other ones do we have? Warp, that's a fun one. That's where I can use a grid to actually bend things around. Stuff like that. Let's see here. You can rotate 180, spin it around. You can teach me how to use a mouse. You can spin it various different ways. 90 degrees clockwise, counterclockwise. You can flip it horizontally, mirror image it horizontally. You can mirror image it vertically, so on and so forth like that. And the last thing, just in this Edit, as we've moved on to Edit here. I'm going to edit here, and I can apply an outline to a current selection. Let me do that again. So you can see what I'm doing there. Normally I don't do that. I would use an actual vector shape that I'll talk about here in an upcoming lecture. But I can fill it with foreground color. And actually, speaking of fill, I can fill things with patterns as well. I'm going to set this to pattern, and Photoshop already comes with certain patterns, and I've made my own. So let's see here. I'll just use scan lines, a pattern that I made. I'll zoom in so you can see. And that is probably really making you blind. It certainly just made my eyeballs bleed, so I apologize about that. But that's what we call scan lines, which is what texture artists will often use to give the appearance of something on a screen, especially an old-style screen. If you look at the screens on a lot of 80s, VHS era movies, things like Alien or Aliens. I got to turn this off. I'm making me blind here. Sorry about that. I had to shrink that down. They have scan lines, and that's back in the days of the CRT tubes. We don't obviously have that now with flat screen monitors. But if you're going for a kind of a retro tech look like the film Alien or Aliens or what have you, you'll do that. So anyhow, you'd use something like that. So anyhow, there's the basics of editing as well. So we'll talk a little bit more in some future videos. In the meantime, hope you've enjoyed these and learned something. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to email me. I'd love to hear from you. And I'll see you soon, or actually you'll see me soon here on the videos.